This is the video for every little thing you need to know about berries. Because when I was first starting out, I stalked so many YouTube videos and so many questionnaires about what to expect when I first walked into the red room, because I was so scared and nervous, and I just didn't know what to even. I wanted to prep myself before going, and there was not really any information out there. Having been to BARRYS almost 200 times, I feel like I've been able to accumulate a lot of information, a lot of how they work. And so this video is going to provide you with all of my tips, all of my experiences, and everything you need to know from start to finish. I honestly hope this is working because I've never done a video like this before. BARRYS is very stressful. The music is loud, the pace is fast. It is not for the faint of heart. People who don't really like loud music and people who get really stimulated in environments that are dark, environments that are almost like a clubbing environment. I say this having never been to a club. Yeah, I've never been to a club. But if I were to imagine what a club looks like, I would picture the BARRYS environment to be very similar, except without drunk people and alcohol. But you know what I mean. In that room, in that 50 minutes, you will be sprinting, you will be lifting, you will be sweating, you will be having fun. The pressure is real and it's an experience, but it's not for everybody, I would say. Hi, my name is Vivian, and I am a personal trainer, holistic health coach, yoga teacher, and soon to be Pilates instructor. And my goal is to share with you the ins and the outs of this industry to keep your body and your mind healthy in the best way possible for you. Also, side note again, these are all of my own opinions based on my experiences and based on what I have seen. I do not speak for everybody. There are so many things that influence my fitness level, and what I take in and how I experience BARRYS is probably not how you're going to experience it. So take my tips with a grain of salt, because I want you to form your own opinion, your own experience. I don't want to scare you also. Please take it at your own pace. Don't kill yourself in that class. It is meant to be fun, and it's not the end of the world if you don't do everything. How I got into BARRYS, I actually don't remember. I remember I took my first class in June of 2022. Oh, I remember I was in Phuket. I was in Thailand and I was just chilling. And I went on my phone or something and I saw this photo of a red room and I was like, people do fitness in there? And then I was like, you kind of just have to experience that for yourself. I remember being so terrified. I Googled everything I needed to know before my first class. I watched the videos. I looked at the website over and over again about what it was. And after that rabbit hole of stalking and scrolling, I booked my first class. And then from there, I remember I was so mesmerized and I was hooked on it. And then I started to try other instructors and realized that every instructor programs differently. The programming, the exercises, the vibe, and the experience is all different based on your instructor. Try everybody out. You have your favorites, and I do too, but yeah, everybody brings something different to the table, and it's so beautiful to see people's creativity shine. What even is BARRYS, and what do you do when you get in there? BARRYS is a 50-minute workout that combines strength training, resistance training, as well as running and cardio. It's been around since 1998, and it was founded by Barry J, and I think somebody else, but I'm forgetting the person right now. Their slogan is the best workout in the world, and I don't know how I feel about that. It is a workout with a lot of pressure. Apparently, for some people, one class can burn about 1,000 calories, but I don't know if that's true. And for me, it's very much between 300 or so. But again, everybody is different, and I say this with my own experience. I don't know where the 1,000 came from though. I'm really curious to know. Somebody must be exerting a lot of force and effort to burn 1,000 calories in 50 minutes. I don't know. I really don't know. BARRYS got popular because a lot of celebrities started to go there. David Beckham, Harry Styles, they all go to BARRYS, and so that's why it sort of gained popularity from celebrities. I'm just reading this right now and I think Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez, Lady Gaga, Hugh Jackman, Dua Lipa, they've all been to BARRYS as well. From that we can see the buzz and the hype of BARRYS. BARRYS is also super global. They have locations in literally every country. I'm looking at their website, and there are so many locations in the US, Australia, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Norway, Singapore, Spain, Dubai, and I think their expansion has also made them popular and also very like widespread as a name in the fitness industry. However, let me say that each location operates in a different way. So for example, I live in Singapore, so the only classes I've been to are at the Singapore studios. When I traveled to the US, I went to LA and New York. The BARRYS there, I would say 90% similar. BARRYS also has their own merch line, and what they sell, what they have for merch is studio specific. So the merch you see in one studio may not be the same as the other studio. There are different collections, and their pieces are really nice. I have a few of them and I love them. In addition to a merch bar, not merch bar. In addition to having their own merch, they also have something called a feel bar, and a feel bar is their little cafe. Well, not cafe, it's a smoothie bar. They have protein shakes. I'm not sure if this works in other studios, but at least in Singapore, you can pre-order a smoothie at the feel bar so that after you finish your class, it's there for you. So yes, they also have their own nutrition aspect to the brand, which makes it very holistic. In the class, you will switch between the treadmill and the floor 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times, depending on your teacher's program. So at the end of the day, if you sign up for a regular spot, you will be running and you will be on the floor. However, if you are somebody who doesn't like running, or if you just want to get the vibes in but like don't want to run, because sometimes we have those days where we just don't want to run, you can come in and do something called double floor. Now double floor is basically just the floor series. So you just come into class for the weight series and you stay put in the same spot for the whole class. I hope that made sense. Now, the treadmill series is basically just your running series. So your instructor is going to make the runs interesting. They are going to throw you inclines, speeds, sprints, jogs, 1 minute jogs, 1 minute sprints. Those are not fun. Incline sprints, tempo runs, all of these things molded into their programming and their sequencing. That is their tread series. The length of time you are on the treadmill depends on the instructor's program. Now on the floor, that's like a totally different class. The part of the body you work that day depends. So BARRYS has the schedule where Monday to Sunday, they work different parts of the body. I believe this is also the same split globally. So no matter what BARRYS you go to, you're going to get the split too. And you see that the different structure and the different split encourages you to hone into a body part and to really focus on that for the whole 50 minutes. Now, the downside to this is if you schedule your BARRYS classes for every Monday, you are going to get an arm workout every Monday. So just keeping that in mind, that it's not really holistic in the sense, as a PT myself, it is so important to be holistic with your training. So don't only focus on the lower body, also focus on the upper body. This will give your body the most balance because we don't want any muscular imbalances. Now the combination between the treads and the floor, most commonly when you go to a BARRYS class, it's going to be 2 rounds. So you would switch from the treads to the floor twice. That is most standard, most common. If it isn't that split, the tread series would be around like 10 minutes, floor series around 10 minutes. However, I would like to say that some instructors, and you never know because you only know when you walk in, they like to throw things at you. Things like a 1-rounder. Now, a 1-rounder is basically where you only switch once from the tread to the floor once. And this is a killer because you are basically running and sprinting and lifting really heavy for like 20 minutes straight. My instructors have done many 1-rounders. It's not the best and it's not the most fun. I mean, it's different. It's something to like play with your brain a little bit. The worst thing is you never know when you're gonna get it. You just walk in and you're like 1-rounder, but you get what you get. Sometimes on the other hand, instructors would do 3 or 4 switches. So treads floor, treads floor, treads floor, treads floor. So like 3 or 4 switches. It's not as common. It takes a lot of work. It's a stretch. it's also a stretch because your brain has to be super on. Your instructor is there to give you an experience that can't be replicated anywhere else. And I'm just going to be blunt and honest here. They yell over the microphone because they have to talk over loud music. It is understandable. If you are somebody who doesn't do well with loud environments, I think it may be a bit too stimulating. But again, try it out and see how you go, because I do not speak for everybody, but it's an experience. Again, that is how I'm going to say it. Second part, tread series. So all about the runs, all about the tread series. I remember I was warned on my first day, like when I checked in at the front desk, that these treadmills are faster than typical treadmills, and it's true. For example, a speed of 5 on your commercial gym treadmill is like kind of a walking pace, I would say. But at BARRYS, a 5 is literally like your jog, like you're starting to run already. Just be aware before tapping on your numbers, if it's your first class, that these treadmills are much faster than your typical commercial gym treadmill. I think the most important thing to know about runs is that you do not have to stay on your instructor's numbers. If you can't hit a 9 at BARRYS is a sprint, and it's fast. It really is fast. For the typical person who maybe has experience with running, a 9 to me is actually quite fast. And also understand that everybody's numbers and how everybody defines fast, slow, jog, walk, sprint, it's going to be different. Your definitions are so personal to you. At the end of the day, your instructors want you to work to your best effort. It's not about hitting their numbers, it's about working to your best effort. And I know this because you know why? If you try to work towards a 9 and you know you can't be running at a 9, like it's way too fast for you, you're going to fall off. And it's not fun for you, it's not fun for the instructor, it's not fun. So really tune into you. The runs are programmed very much like a HIIT style workout, where you would, for example, just an example, you would do like a 1-minute jog, then you would pull back for 30 seconds, then you would sprint for 30 seconds, and then you pull back for a walk. Like that kind of interval training with the timing and with the splits, that is how BARRYS does it. Your instructor is going to call out something like treads 5, 6, 7. So if you're on the treadmill, they are talking to you. So treads 5, 6, 7. Basically, this means that is your range. 5, 6, 7 is your range. So you can be anywhere from a 5, 6, or 7. And if you can't hit their range, you can be at a 4. They are just calling out a range that corresponds to beginner speed, intermediate speed, or advanced speed. Now it is up to you and how you're feeling that day to pick whatever number you want to go on. Tune into your body, know your numbers, know how you feel, and then you are going to tap that number and run that speed. No pressure if you don't hit it. I personally very much enjoy the runs because there's like really loud music and the energy around you is just so like go, go, go. They are tough. They are really tough. And I think it really pushes you on stamina. It pushes you on knowing your limits. And I feel like it pushes you to really understand your body. It can also be very bearing on your knees. So keep in mind if you have knee issues or injuries. Floor series. Okay, so there's a lot to say about the floor series, so hang on, stay on. Your instructor is going to call out light weights, medium weights, or heavy weights. And this basically is also your range. The weight you would be bicep curling is not the same weight you might be chest pressing. So that's why they also want to give you a range, and you also sort of want to know what weight is going to sort of fit with your routine today. This is the part of BARRYS where I say it's very independent driven. Your instructor is not going to know what the best run pace is for you. They're not going to know what the best weight is for you. Because the class is so big, the instructor doesn't have time to individually assess you. That is for PT. When you come into a group fitness class, you also have to hold on to that responsibility of knowing your safety measures and knowing yourself a little bit, at least to a foundational level. Also, again, back to definitions, it's very subjective to say lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight, because everybody is so different. My heavyweight could be your lightweight. My lightweight could be your heavyweight. Like, we are all at different stages of our journeys, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what weight we're lifting. It matters that we're having fun and being safe. put it out there that a BARRYS class is very fast-paced. So if your instructor is telling you to go heavy, it comes with a little bit more attention, more care, and more safety measures. So just want to put it out there because I've seen injuries happen and it is not good. Okay, now that we have that covered, I just want to very quickly summarize this. When you walk into your first BARRYS class, take it as an experiment. Don't go too heavy, don't run too fast, and just really see how your body adapts to the workout. Because let me tell you that when you get into a new environment full of stimulation, full of pressure, full of novelty, you're going to react in a different way. And so I don't want to scare you with all the facts. As you go on, your body will get more used to it and you'll get more familiar with the routine. So don't stress yourself out on the first class. Go slow and go light. I feel like sometimes if you know too much information before going to a class, it takes away the experience. So also pace yourself with this video. Like, don't let it scare you. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just go to class and see how you go, because you never know. You never know until you try. That is something I'll leave you with. You never know until you try. Okay, now that we know what the workout is about, let's go through booking a class. Okay, so when you go on the BARRYS website, you're going to be asked for your location. So select your location and then continue, and then you're gonna go to buy classes. Now, depending on your region, the class packs are going to differ. I think $30 US is the standard. I am not too sure, don't quote me on this. It is around that price. So you select your studio and then they show you the class pack. They have class packages that range up to 5 classes, 10 classes, 20 classes, 50 classes. And then they also have memberships. I was on the membership for a while because I was going quite consistently, but now I'm just on the class pack because it's so much more flexible for me. And I will talk more about my BARRYS journey later. After you have your class pack, you are going to go to reserve. Select your region again, the studio. Then they're going to bring you to the schedule where you can see all of the classes. Once you decide which class you want to go to, you're going to just click on it and then it's going to bring you to this page. Now, this is basically the layout of the room. Each studio has a different layout, so depending on the studio layout, see how it says entrance here, it's going to be different. The first letter here, F and T, is going to correspond to your treadmill and floor weight series. So treads and floor. Now the spot that you select and the spot that you click is going to be your starting spot. Now your starting spot is basically the spot you will go to when you first come to class, and when you first enter through those doors, that is the spot you are going to go to. It's called your starting spot basically. I want to start on F10. I will click on F10 and then it's going to book me in. So here, and it says enrolled. And that's basically it, you are done. If it says DF, it means double floor, and it means that that spot has no corresponding treadmill. So that spot is for you if you want to do a floor only series. So basically you select your starting spot, you go to that spot when you first enter class, and whatever switches you do will be that same number. So if you are on F10, you will switch to T10. Then when you go back to the floor, you go back to F10. Then you switch to the treads, it'll be T10. It's quite simple and I really hope it's coming off right. It's also very seamless. Like when the switches happen, when the transitions happen, when you walk out, there are showers, there are towels. In Singapore, LA, and New York, we didn't have to rent towels, but don't quote me on this. I'm not sure how it goes in other studios. My experience, I went to BARRYS for the first time almost 2 years ago. When I came into my first class, it was a Friday lunchtime, and I was the only first timer. When you come in as a first timer, the system will register it and you will get a briefing from the instructor. This is Singapore specific, where you would go into the room about 5 minutes early, and the instructor will brief you about what to expect. They will very quickly run through the settings on the treadmill. They will run through the weights, the floor, like how everything works. And the instructor who took me for the first time, I loved it. Like, she made me love it so much. And for me, that first BARRYS class opened me up to the fitness industry. I used to be very intimidated, and that first BARRYS class showed me that all of the things I had in my mind about fitness, they weren't as scary as my mind thought it out to be. So with that being said, there's so much that can happen when you just open yourself up to try something new. BARRYS is also very community driven, so they will celebrate you when you have your birthday. They will celebrate you when you hit a milestone. So if you hit 100 classes, if you hit 200 classes, 500 classes, 1000 classes, they will celebrate you. For my 100th class, I think I remember they took a Polaroid photo for me with my instructor, and then they also like let me put it on one of their walls, and they also decorated my treadmill. Like the mirror on the treadmill was like happy 100, and it was so sweet. Like I loved it. What makes BARRYS special other than the fact that celebrities go there? The red lights. The red lights are such a major part of their branding and part of their whole experience. The whole room is like red when you're working out, and it's just a vibe. It's to help you gain this experience that can't be replicated anywhere else. The combination with like an instructor that really pushes you and motivates you, that experience can't really be replicated anywhere else unless you really try hard. That being said, the workout itself, if you were just to go for the weights and the running and you didn't really care about the experience, then of course, yes, you can take the workout, the programming, and you could totally do it on your own in the gym, but that again would not be the BARRYS experience. The instructor basically shapes and makes your class. Every instructor is so different, and they give you different experiences based on their personality, based on their vibe, based on their programming, based on their knowledge, based on their background. And there are so many factors that go into programming a class. I remember I was having this conversation with one of my friends at BARRYS. The same program taught by two different teachers can give you a totally different experience. Community is a big part of BARRYS. Like I said just now, they celebrate you. They really make you feel welcomed, although it can get kind of cliquey. On Instagram, the instructors are almost always reposting your photos if you tag them. They are shouting you out. They are supporting you, motivating you, pushing you to your best. And the sense of achievement that you feel is a lot. And I think part of what fitness is about, it's about showing yourself that you are more capable than you think. And when there's this community element, it really brings that into focus. However, I will say that the way BARRYS is marketed is very like calories, sweat, toughness, no pain, no gain kind of driven, which in my world, I don't resonate with that because I come from a softer approach, but I mean, there are two sides to it and you can choose to believe in whatever you want to. Now, what is my BARRYS routine now? I went through a little bit of a phase with this. When I first started in June of 2022, I got hooked very fast and I was going like almost 5 times a week. And I will say right now that that was too much. I felt good, but like I was always tight and sore and I wasn't giving myself enough rest. I didn't eat enough. And when you do too much high intensity and you don't feel and nourish and rest enough, your body is going to crumble. Your body will tell you when it's too much because you start to feel really bad. And that was what happened. I just felt really bad. In hindsight, I look back and it was all me. Like it was all me. It was nothing. Like I blame nobody but myself because it was me who didn't have that understanding on how to properly nourish and how to properly rest if I was doing that amount of HIIT. Say you want to find that balance for yourself. Too much high intensity exercise can really mess with your hormones, and when it messes with your hormones and you don't eat enough, you can start to lose your period, and it's not good, and we don't want that to happen. Now I only do BARRYS probably like once a week, sometimes none, and sometimes 2. Right now, my BARRYS schedule is very sporadic. I didn't want to be forcing myself to go every week and feel the need to be pulled to it, but rather I wanted to supplement my fitness routine where I go when I'm craving that energy release. And also, as somebody who is so into alignment and form, I think the best way for me to get a fulfilling gym session is just to do it by myself, is BARRYS for the long term. Now, this really depends. From the stories I've heard and people doing HIIT, people doing F45, I have seen a lot of people go from HIIT every day to dwelling down and doing more like low intensity stuff, doing more regular strength training, gym workouts, getting out of that HIIT bubble. And there are so many different intensities to fitness that are so beneficial. Your body cannot thrive on stress all the time, and high intensity is a stressful workout. Your body just physically cannot take in that much stress all at once. So I think finding the right balance for you is what is going to matter the most. Is BARRYS for beginners? BARRYS is not for everybody. I'm just gonna say it. BARRYS is not for everybody. Some people can't take the loud music. Some people can't take the yelling. Some people can't take the stimulation and the pressure, and that is okay. There are so many other ways to move. It's just simply an option, and there are many options we can choose from. That being said, I feel like to really reap the benefits from BARRYS and to really enjoy it and to not feel unsafe or to not feel pressured, I would have a foundational understanding on basically like your foundational fitness exercises: good mornings, deadlifts, squats, lunges, shoulder presses, bicep curls, chest presses, bent over rows. I personally would know what those exercises are and have tried it on my own body and sort of know the correct form before entering a workout like that. Because when you enter that environment, the instructor is dealing with so much that the form checks and the form cues that they give are going to be limited. How often should you go? This really depends on you and your schedule. I personally would not go more than twice per week, just knowing my body and myself, but I know people who go 7 times per week. I know people who go 1-2 times a week. I know people who go in and out, and they're not consistent, and that is all fine. Your fitness routine should be holistic, and it should make you feel good. Don't feel this pressure and this need to do something if you really don't want to do it. Have that internal motivation, and I promise it'll guide you so far and so well into the future, because we have to think long term. Movement is this lifelong thing that ebbs and flows with the seasons of our life, the phases of our life, and it's something that should be like a lifestyle. So don't let it work against you, let it work for you. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for sitting through this video with me, and I hope it gave you enough information for you to be confident when you walk into BARRYS for the first time. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in my next video.